Yeah, boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, to you, the individuals, part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rack Highlights here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I'm your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Throw. Talk briefly, concisely, Michael Sam, and reaction on the herd. I always do a little show like this to let you know the clip order coming up and the whys and wherefores. You get a significantly longer highlight reel that way when I do it like this. So the least you can do is every out for 2 to 3 minutes, because I'm going to throw in a quickie sport rant to the segment, as I usually do. Alright, so many thanks to the OMSR sponsor makes all this possible. The DMCA and all that good stuff it covers. So all the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and Theherd with Colin. Everything else to the OMSR. Alright, so this is done in 2 parts. There's a lot of good stuff going on with regard to this story. You'll have to forgive the pixelation coming through from the U. I'm not dissing the U. However, in SoCal, being the destination, the transmission from the source, ESPNU has they don't have issues. There's something to do with, the equipment out here, even though it's digital cable. So I don't quite understand that. And it actually got worse throughout the program. So you'll forgive the pixelation going on. It's kind of right at the standard where I'd be like, any more than that couldn't have brought you the highlights going on here and what's being discussed. All right, so is it or isn't it a big deal with regard to Michael Sam, whom was one dude making Missouri look really good on defense after that Florida game? That's when people started to take notice, and so forth. It's both, actually. Of course, there's always going to be the issue with, being in the showers and then religious. I'm going to stay out of all that. I remind you guys to keep your comments. I'm definitely going to be moderating the message board on these 2 shows. And then in part 2, Tony Gonzalez. Y'all respect him and what he says. I miss Cal basketball. And he was on that team, and I can't think of his name now. He retired last year. Who also came out of Cal. Cal was good basketball back then. And Tony Gonzalez is their power forward. So he got into the NFL because Cal got into the Elite 8. Anyway, listen up. He says a lot of good things about this issue as well from a player whom everyone can respect, who's been there, and yeah, he's very well spoken, articulate, and thoughtful. You'll love it. That's probably going to be like the better segment, even with the pixelation going on. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there.
Just tuning into the radio show. My name's Colin. I try to be reasonably progressive on issues. This is not a liberal or a conservative issue. It's really not. It's just the world's changing, evolve, or be lost in it. Doesn't make me a liberal. It doesn't make me a conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative, social liberal, I guess, by label or definition. But, I go issue to issue and just use compassion and common sense to me. I don't see this as an issue with a political party. The first question I was asked this morning by lots of people, 20 emails asked this. If you're playing high school, college, or pro sports, you've been showering with gay people for years. How's it working so far? Are they lunging for you? When you shower at the local gym, do you step in and go, yo, everybody's straight here? Oh, you don't. You're interacting with gay people today, folks. Even in showers at local gyms. Shocking. Your life isn't any different. Michael Sam told Missouri players before the year, I'm gay. He showered with them all year. They went from 5-7 to 12-2. The shower issue appears to be a non-factor. The second question, it's nobody's business. Keep it to yourself. Well, what if we treated race like that? Don't talk about your prejudice. Keep it to yourself. You see, progress happens with disclosure. Race issues, conflicts, they're resolved with dialogue. If you get into a fight with your wife, do you do what your grandpa did and just not talk about it for 30 years?
Yeah.
Or do you actually talk to your wife and treat her like a human being? That's how you resolve conflict. Go ask a therapist. You have authentic dialogue. That's how you resolve hate and prejudice. Unfortunately, this is everybody's business. That's why there's sexual harassment lawsuits, anti-gay lawsuits, because of the anti-gay bashing that goes on, even on stories like this. Read my Twitter. How do you resolve issues? How do you end prejudice? You talk about it. Sorry, we'll break down the NFL draft in the next 3 days. Today we got to talk about stuff like this. That's how you break through barriers. The next question is, who cares? You enough to email or tweet? It gets a visceral reaction from you, the guy who claims he doesn't care. The guy who goes to the Tebow game story, clicks it, goes to the bottom comment section, adds a comment. Who cares? You. This is a story where lots of people have been affected or have an opinion. So when you email who cares, you're sort of proving my point. Here's the next one. God didn't want this. Oh, but God would fully support hate mongers and trolls on the internet? By the way, is God down with premarital sex because your favorite player did that? People treat religion like a choosing the verses that fit their values. You know, we were saying this morning. I find it amazing that Tony Gonzalez has played 17 years in the NFL, could play 2 or 3 more years, 14 years as a Pro Bowler. He's not a punter. He's getting smoked by safeties. It's just physically unbelievable. Someday we're going to figure out how Tony Gonzalez did it, because it's really all these young stud tight ends like Gronk struggle to stay healthy week to week. Tony Gonzalez could play 2 full decades in this league. He's still a very good high-end tight end. And joining us, before we start, Tony, how do you feel when you wake up this morning, 17 years in this league?
I actually feel pretty good because I got my daughter's hand on my face, slapping me, telling me to get up out of bed to take her to school. So I have no choice but to feel good, I guess.
you know, Tony, when you've played as long as you have in the NFL, you've seen a lot of the changes. You're a veteran, but you're a West Coast guy. Lifestyles are different in the West than maybe other parts of the country. When Michael Sams comes out and says, "I'm gay," before the draft, I was sort of interested in your perspective. Is it easier today to do that than it was 15 years ago when you broke into the league?
I think without a question, yeah, absolutely. You know, and it should be that way. You know, because obviously that's part of our society, and nobody should ever be afraid of something like that. I mean, it's everywhere you look right now, and acceptance is the key word for everything. You know, and we got to make sure that we're out there and support our fellow athletes no matter what.
Let's say a guy came out and he was outspoken against him. How would other players, especially guys like you who are widely respected in the league, what would you do as a veteran player if somebody was anti-Michael Sams?
Well, I would tell them to keep their mouths shut, especially in this day and age. You have no excuse to be that ignorant at this point. No. Now, obviously, people have their religious concerns, and that's a touchy subject, and I'm not going to go there. But, you know, I would just think at this day and age, come on. I mean, you got to grab a clue and see what's going on around you and see how we're evolving, how humanity's evolving, and have some acceptance. You know, if it's not hurting you, what do you care anyway? Just go out there and play ball and respect the guy from an athletic standpoint.
You know, it's interesting. I said earlier, football players, you went to Cal, and Cal, it tends to be a very socially liberal campus. When you first went, I mean, you're a very progressive thinker, Tony, but when you first got to Cal's campus, it was probably different than the hometown you grew up in. Do you think the college environment at Berkeley helped you as a human being see different worlds?
Absolutely. Without question. I mean, first of all, when I was going there, we had a naked guy coming to school, coming to campus. You know, people playing guitars, walking, doing protests every Friday. They had a microphone on campus where you could get up there and say whatever was on your mind. You know, if there's something you want to protest against, you can get it off your chest, you know, and the rallies, and then obviously all the homeless people that were there that you'd sit and talk to in between classes. and you see how intelligent some of these homeless people are. So that changes your whole definition of what a homeless person is. Yeah, you talking about eye-opening, mind-opening. That's what Berkeley was, and you can't help but become a little bit more liberal, a little bit more open-minded by being on that campus. That whole Bay Area is like that, San Francisco included.
Yeah.
Very progressive, very open-minded, open-thinking, and that's why I loved my experience at Cal. Just as much as I loved my experience there playing athletics, it was just as much a big part of me with the academics and the opening of my mind and becoming the person I am today.
But you played in Kansas City, which is conservative. Atlanta, the South, is conservative. Locker rooms are largely conservative. Were you ever uncomfortable with dialogues in locker rooms?
No, because I think one thing that I learned at Berkeley is that nothing's off the table. If you have something on your mind and you can back it up, with words and intellectual, there's nothing wrong with saying it. And it actually doesn't even matter how you say it. I mean, if you have something on your mind, I have no problem sitting here listening to you, but then it's up to me to say, you know what, you're full of it or whatever. And I've heard those arguments, and there is no doubt about it in the NFL locker room or any locker room, probably I would say around the world, but I know for sure in the NFL locker room, there are going to be people that aren't okay with it, with athletes being a homosexual. And that's just the part of it. But that's a small minority. And that's something that they're going to have to deal with, and they're going to have to get over it, because that's just how it goes. I mean, it's the same thinking, I guess, from back in the day with women's rights, women's voting, women in coaching, whatever it is. I mean, it's something that's maybe a little different for these people that aren't used to it at first. But eventually, guess what? It's coming no matter what, with you or without you. And so you better get your mind right and wrap your mind around it and understand that it's no big deal.
You came out and said he's very, very good, but he's not in that elite category, which is exactly how I feel. But I'm not a teammate of his. Did you get any flack for acknowledging what most people think?
Oh, more than you know. More than you know. With this whole Twitter thing and everything, everybody can give their opinion about this stuff, but I really don't read the Twitter comments, because why do I want to go get insulted? So I didn't read it. My wife read a couple of them to me, and the thing about it, it's so slighted too that the networks out there that put the story out and they say Tony Gonzalez slights Matt Ryan, and it's like what a biased thing to say, because I didn't slight him at all. First of all, we're talking about one of my best friends. I have the utmost respect for Matt. Me and his wife Sarah, and my wife October, we go out to dinners, we go on vacations together. It's just ridiculous how they're saying that I slighted him, because the question was asked point blank, is Matt Ryan an elite quarterback? And I said no, he's very close, but at this point, no, and he's gonna be there. There's no doubt in my mind. I've always said it ever since the first day I laid eyes on Matt Ryan. I said it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when for this kid. Because he's got that work ethic, he's got the arm, he's got all the tools to go out there and be that type of quarterback, and he's almost there, and I do believe he'll get there. But if you look at it right now in the NFL, and here's what I want people to look at. The Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks in this league right now, there's four of them right now. And there's Tom Brady, there's Peyton Manning, there's Aaron Rodgers, and there's Drew Brees.
Yep.
And those guys are probably first ballot. I mean, I don't think I'm even going out that limb. They're first ballot Hall of Famers, all four of them.
Yep.
Okay, so anybody in the next tier, as far as I'm concerned, those are like the elite quarterbacks. Those are the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Everybody else is in line after that, and Matt Ryan's right there. He's there with Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton, whatever you want to call it. They're right there, and there's no slight against Matt or any of those other guys. I'm just telling you, with those Hall of Famers, and I think those guys probably say the same thing. But we can debate it all day, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess, at this point in the NFL.
By the way, are you retired officially?
Yes, I am retired, happily retired.
Okay, so you're done. You're done.
Yeah, done.
And living by the beach in California.
Living by the beach in California, enjoying myself.
All right. By the way, next time you're on, I want to talk about that naked guy in Berkeley. We'll get into that thing, okay?
His last name was Gonzalez, too.
Good talking to you, Tony.
All right, thanks.
All right, man. That's incredible, right? 17 years in the NFL and could still play. Yeah. Gronk can't stay healthy for a 3-game roadie. 17 years. That's just 14 Pro Bowls. Yeah, like he's saying, man, the world's changing. Grow with it or die. I mean, you know what I mean? I got emails this morning. I run a business. I only hire straight people. How silly are you? How do you know who's straight? You don't know what's going on in people's bedrooms. I don't even know what's going on in my bedroom. I turn the light on.